Hey, this is Niels on Dynasty. Please like, share, and subscribe. Be kind, helpful, and grateful. And buy some silver, some platinum, some crystallized osmium. Don't listen to anything I say on this stream because it's just for entertainment purposes only. It's to be taken as bullshit. Anyhow, having gotten rid of all the disclaimers, let's start with the dark side of gold. By the way, this is TED Television, TED Talks. It's a hidden cost of buying gold. Gives a little liberal perspective, in my opinion, but it's still an accurate one.
Since I was little, I always loved nature. I always loved the feeling of being in a forest. For me, the forest is more valuable than gold. My name is Claudia Vega, and I work in the Peruvian Amazon. I'm studying mercury contamination due to artisanal gold mining in Madre de Dios. I think people are not aware that sometimes the gold that you buy maybe is poisoning the rainforest in the Amazon or other tropical areas. About 20% of the gold producers in the world come from artisanal gold mining. It's not that small, and when you say artisanal, it's not because it's natural. It's called artisanal because they don't use fancy equipment. They have a very rustic way. People have been doing that since the gold.
By the way, it's very, 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 very prominent in Africa, where we also get a lot of gold. So it's a worldwide problem. 20% of the gold gotten out of the ground is done this way.
Gold rush in California, they were using mercury. So the technique hasn't advanced that much since then. Mercury is used because it's an easy way to extract the gold. So what the miners do is the gold is like in a sandy form, and it's usually in the sediment of the rivers. They put mercury, the mercury binds with gold, then they have the amalgam, which is a mix of gold and mercury, and then they burn the amalgam, and then the mercury just evaporates to the air. And
another technique to do that is if you take, I think it's apple cider vinegar, after you do your sluicing, and I'm sure it's not prominent for larger operations, but for the smaller operations, I believe it's apple cider vinegar or distilled vinegar. I'm not sure exactly which one. Also, if you stick all of your sand-bearing gold that you didn't get out of your sluicing in a bucket and load it up with the apple cider vinegar or distilled vinegar, it breaks down the sand, which releases the gold that's captured in the sand, and you can rerun that gold-bearing sand and get extra gold out of it with no mercury use.
They got the gold. When they're doing the mixing with gold, some of the mercury goes into the river. It's easy to evaporate. You don't have to heat it. It goes to the air, and it can be transported long distance. This happens mainly in the tropics, and is the biggest.
And that's actually part of the photosynthesis process, where plants get most of the chemicals they use and nutrients they need out of the air. So if mercury evaporates and goes into a gaseous form, your plants can now absorb it through the air. That's what she's basically saying.
Anthropogenic source of mercury in the planet. Around 1,400 tons of mercury annually is released to the environment because of artisanal gold mining. It's an international concern, and it's not because it harms just the place where it's used. For example, there are even very high levels of mercury in the whales, in the beluga whales in the Arctic. In Madre de Dios, about 130,000 hectares has been deforested because artisanal gold mining. It is big operation. You can see huge areas of rainforest just deforested. It looked like a desert with mining ponds. There are artificial lakes and in the middle of a lot of desert. But there's no tree, there's no animals. It looks like the moon, kind of, because there's no vegetation. Mercury is an element, we cannot destroy it. It's a potent neurotoxin. It can affect the nervous system. Also can give you headache, can give you problem of memory. It can give you insomnia. It can harm children during pregnancy. Could have a baby, will have learning disabilities. Depending how much is exposed, it can even have malformation. Mercury is called the silent toxin because it takes a while to show effects. Minabata Bay in Japan is a more iconic case of mercury poisoning. 1932, there was a company that was releasing mercury into the bay. It took about 25 years to show the effects in people. About 1,000 people died, and until now they have certified like 10,000 people that were affected. So people didn't know they were being intoxicated, and they didn't feel it. But at the end they had the symptoms and people died. WHO says that mercury is one of the top 10 chemicals that are a major concern for public health. Centro de Innovación Científica Amazónica, which is Amazonian Center for Scientific Innovation. We implement the first mercury lab in the Peruvian Amazon, and it's in the middle of the rainforest. It's in the middle of the jungle. We produce science. It's also communicate the science to people that are not scientists in a way that they can have information to take better decisions. We work with miners and also explain to them the dangers of mercury, and with indigenous people also explain to them how they can avoid being exposed. And also we work with politicians so they can base their decision in science. Fish is the main source of protein for indigenous people in the Amazon. They are exposed to very high levels of mercury through consuming contaminated fish. They have like one of the highest levels reported right now. So one thing that we do with them, we explain to them that they have to choose safer fish. Sometimes it's very difficult because you don't have the right answer for them. I mean, they're in their home, and then as French people come telling them that what they are eating is poison. But I think information is power, and having the right information
Talk about global depopulation. We're FOMOing into gold that is going to help depopulate the planet.
make you do the right decision. So we insist in that, giving the information and repeat the information. Some of the miners that tell us like, I have been doing this for 30 years, so I'm good. I ask them like, do you sleep? Do you have headaches? Do you forget things more often? And also mercury sometimes can increase the chance of have cardiovascular disease. So maybe some of the people have high pressure and they don't know why. It could be because of mercury. And some of them, they're changing for a more responsible way of mining. Some other miners, maybe they know, but they don't care because they need money. And gold is money. There are not incentive to produce mercury-free gold. People just buy gold, they don't care. There's no like good traceability system.
There's no blood diamond fanaticism because of the powers that be that are controlling gold. All want money, and they don't want to press that narrative as they did with the diamonds and not touching the quote-unquote blood diamonds and that narrative that they sold.
So I think as a consumer or as a mediator of gold trade, we have to care about where the gold is coming from.
Bingo. You have to care where your gold's coming from. How many people care where their gold's coming from? I don't buy gold, so it's not my problem. But for everyone that buys gold, woo-wee, 20% of the gold you buy is poisoning our fish, our water, our air, our plants. Drive on, Batman, drive on. So let's see, where am I at here? Uh-oh. Okay, I got that one. Sorry, I've lost myself here. I got too many tabs open. But yeah, I don't buy gold. I mean, I did reports like 2 years ago on West Africa, the Sahel region, and how the terrorists were taking all the artisanal gold that the miners were producing because it wasn't being counted on the COMEX or any figure of how much gold is out there. So then that's why I say the whole number of the gold that we have out there, according to COMEX, is a lie. It's really, I've given evidence on my videos over the past year doing reports on the Sahel nations of West Africa and what they've reported about how the terrorists were taking and buying real cheap all of the gold from the artisanal miners, and the artisanal miners were using mercury. China has been kicked out of several countries in Africa for their gold mining techniques, artisanal gold mining techniques, where they use mercury. Also, don't care for the environment. So they've been killing off fishes, rivers. I've done reports on some of the rivers that they've poisoned. And the reason why, like 3 countries, I think it was the Zambezi River got poisoned by a Chinese artisanal mining outfit. No one reports all this stuff. Don't know why, but don't buy gold, man. You're just increasing the hey, what's up, Still Ruger? Is that like the chainsaw still? It kind of spelled similar. But yeah, 20% of the gold you buy is killing our planet by the way they're mining it and people's lackadaisical caring of how it's mined. Again, just like the blood diamond, they didn't want you to take that one diamond from that one country, i.e. company, because they would have lost money and they needed to demonize it. So they came up with a story and a cool movie, and they sold you on feelings and emotions. And they kept diamonds high priced and less available to the general public, i.e. retail, so they could keep that price high. Since then, that's gone away, and now diamonds are coming down in price. There's now 3 places on the planet. De Beers only covers 1 of them, so they've lost control of the diamond pricing and thus, therefore, the manipulation. But, it works like that with gold, too, and the people in the gold industry, they don't care. They just want to make money. If they're digging up, it costs $900 to mine an ounce of gold. If they're getting $4,000 for it in product, man, are they making money? So do you really think they care if they're dropping mercury? Do you think that legitimate, hey, what's up, Attila? You think that legitimate company that's doing legitimate mining cares about the 20% in that same country going artisanal mining? And, it's just a lackadaisical corporation attitude and country attitudes when providing leases for these mines have put us in a real bad way. Not only that, like I said, there's probably like 55,000 tons of gold out there, not counted on the COMEX. So the actual amount of gold on this planet is twice easily what you think it is, even more than that, because India has 4 more vaults to open that were sealed 1,000 years ago after they became full of gold trinkets that were given to their gods, and they sealed those vaults. That gold's never been counted. How many? I mean, one of the vaults, India had to go to court to open. They opened 3 vaults. One of the vaults was said to belong to the Hindu religion, so the country couldn't touch it and use it for financial gain. The other 2 were opened up. There was over 1.4 trillion dollars in gold in those vaults, not counted, but dug up, fashioned, turned into jewelry, and stuck in that vault 850 years before the COMEX came to invention. So COMEX never counted that. They've got 4 more vaults to open. So I imagine there's probably about $5 trillion just in India in gold that's not on the COMEX. If you include all these countries and their extra gold that's not counted on the COMEX and you add it all up, gold would drop in price big time. So they have incentive not to encourage people to mine responsibly. As that lady said on TED Talks TV, the earlier part of this video, the mercury evaporates into air. I've done videos and talks on my videos about how plants share resources through their root system if you use a microfungi network by adding azospirillum or micros to the root systems of plants that you plant, so they can hook up that fungi network. What reason why that's good for plants is because every plant pulls a different product out of the air. So if mercury is being evaporated in the use of artisanal minings near a rainforest, that evaporation turned that mercury into air. So now the plants are breathing mercury-filled air. It's a no-brainer, actually, if you think about it. It's half-assed seriously. Or if you know the knowledge about plants and about evaporations, gases, liquids, solids, and consumption through the leaf into the cellular structure of the plant, used to the root, going down through the microfungi network to be shared through other plants and distributed for other resources needed to be transferred back through to that plant. If you know all of that, then it's a no-brainer. But yeah, that's the dark side of gold mining. Kind of messed up that people want to make money and don't care about how they make it. But that's a good thing. You want to know why? I'll explain it here in just a second. Got another video. It's going to explain why. We do a share screen here. And this is by Fox News. I want to highlight this. Trump, U.S. will have 22 trillion in investments by the end of the year. Wow. That's semi-significant, don't you think? Well, let's see what Fox News has to say, not Neil. I thought it was only 17 trillion. My bad.
President Trump securing even more victories for Americans on the final leg of his Asia trip. The president just holding a bilateral meeting with the South Korean president. Those two are also expected to have dinner. That coming up later this hour. The president also hopes to add a deal with South Korea to his massive wins in order to boost our economy.
I figure that we'll probably be at 20 or 21, maybe even $22 trillion of investments coming into our country by the end of the first year of my second term. And, we had a tremendously successful first term. We had the strongest economy in history for our country, strongest we ever had. But this is, I think, blowing it away. We have great policy. We have some very good things happening.
And as the president wraps his week-long trip to Asia, we are anticipating his meeting with Xi Jinping before he returns to Washington and any potential deals that could come from it. You're watching Fox and Friends First.
That was just a little quickie. I wanted you guys to hear that number. 22 trillion. I've been saying 17 trillion, and I've had arguments with people, and I've had to go get evidence on other people's shows to present them evidence that I'm not lying. Well, you just heard it from the president of the United States. 22 trillion. Excuse me. So when I said we were receiving 17 trillion, it's actually 22 trillion, 22 trillion, somewhere around there. That's over 2/3 of our deficit. Wow. Hold on a second. Now let's think this through. Okay. So if you increase your investment by 2/3 of your debt, that's called growth. Your debt is based off of the size of your economy and what it takes to run it at that time. We're running at a deficit. So if we add 60% to our economy in a year, hold on a second. Can we do the math? Now you might understand why, if you've seen me say this, I've said this on several channels and my own, zero inflation in 2026, not the beginning, sometime in 2026, it'll be zero inflation, and a possibility towards the end of the year that we might be able to sign a balanced budget agreement. First time, I think, since Carter. So, and again, I'm stating these things publicly. The reason why is I know this is recorded. I want it to be recorded. There's zero inflation 2026 and possibly a balanced budget by 2026, definitely by 2027. All because of growth. Another way that you can get out of debt without paying it off is increase your land mass. Because land is money. Real estate, right? Land's money. Okay, well, America just added 3 sizes of Texas. I did a report on it last year. 3 sizes, the 3 Texases side by side, we added to the land mass of the United States of America. It just so happens about 2 months after we added legally that land mass to the United States of America, they discovered those little nodules that I also did reports on that have that produce oxygen 2,000 meters below the sea. And 80% of those nodules are on newly claimed American soil. Hello. So now, if you paid attention to Trump in his last term and all the bullshit that was said, we're sitting on top of $62 trillion of assets underneath American soil. We just added another 10 trillion to that by expanding our nation 3 sizes the size of Texas and consuming all of those resources that come with that land. Now, do you understand why we would like to see Canada as part of America and Greenland as part of America? Because America is an expansionist. We were created to be an expansionist nation. Our economy, our base economies are based off of the premise of we're going to be an expansion nation. If you don't look at it properly, you're going to get the wrong deduction from what you're looking at. No one realizes that, or at least no one's talking about it, and that leads people to improper deductions. on how things are going to happen, when they're going to happen, why they're going to happen. And that's why when I saw what I saw last September with what the president was talking about, or the future president, I think at that time, before the elections, what he was talking about in some of his speeches, I knew that the energy market was going to be a rocket place. Not just all the energy market, but the newer sector of their energy market. And I kept up with that story, and I discovered that the Nuclear Regulatory Agency was cutting the regulation time of approving nuclear sites from 20 to 25 years down to 6 months. And they publicly stated that. I said, holy crap, let me check out some of these companies. And I started telling you guys about the company OKLO at around $18 to $20, and the company Nano Nuclear Energy, NNE, at around $18 to $20. Well, OKLO 1 year later is, I think, about $150, almost 900% growth. And NNE is about 40 some odd bucks, about 100% growth. All this information was publicly given. If we keep our feelings out of politics and just listen to what the people in charge actually say, and regardless of your feelings, oh, he used the word pussy. Oh, he's a mean orange man. Or who gives a fuck? He does that to throw stupid people off. Okay? Because he's telling you the game plan. All I've done in my stock calls are all from Trump's game plan that he told us from his speeches over the past 6, 7 years, 5, 6, 7 years, and running for office. So if you want to be a better stockbroker or stock picker than Nancy Pelosi, actually listen to what these people say. I'm not a genius in the fact that I am a financial guy. I don't know crap about finances. But what I do know is what your government approves of, well, it's financially going to gain. So, and I knew that America was going to want to take over the energy market of the world. Because if you own the energy market of the world, every country is going to look at you as a power reserve, or reserve currency, however the hell you want to say it, keeping you in power for 300 or 400 more years. People don't want to say that. Okay, yeah, the dollar's dying. What's the new currency? Energy? Well, now let's think about this. If it's going digital, then indeed, 100%. If we are going digital, if you think Bitcoin's the thing, if you think any XRP is the thing, then you are going digital. That means you need energy. So that means energy is the new, just not perceived that way. But the new economy coming around, that's actually how it's going to work. And you're going to make your money off of the stocks and the cryptos and everything that are produced off of energy. It takes energy to mine gold, silver, platinum. It takes energy to mine Bitcoin, XRP, and XLM. It takes energy to fucking run a company, make it successful so you can get on the stock market. So if you're ahead of the game and you're investing in the energy that it takes to make all these things happen, hello, what's the next thing to happen? After you see the energy market blow up, every other industry is going to blow up, especially if we have $22 trillion of investment coming. I stated last year that we had a V-shaped recovery coming. And by the third quarter of this year, you'd see it. I saw it in the third quarter of this year. I don't think everyone has, because people are narrow-sighted and add feelings to the way they read things or perceive things, or I don't know. But trust me, next year is going to be a good year. A lot of people are going to suffer, but hey, you know what? If you intentionally went out and you had children, man, I don't care what color you are. It does not matter. If you went out and you had children and you didn't keep the daddy around, and then you went out and had another child, and every 3 years you had another child, because that's how long Social Security pays for a new child, and you just kept popping out babies, damn, you dug yourself a bad hole. And the taxpayer does not need to pay for it. That was a choice an adult made by spreading their legs and deciding to take federal funding. And this actually is a thing. I know several females out here in this town that do that. Every 3 years, they'll grab a new guy, get pregnant by him, re-sign up for all the federal programs, the free stuff for that child. And here's the thing people don't talk about. There's a set number of dollars on these social programs. So these little babies that are 0 days old up to 3 years old, their mom is using up all of their social services for her to live on while not educating him properly, because she only gets the money if there's no father around. And every color person has taken advantage of this. No one, it's not a color thing. It's a greed thing. It's a stupidity thing. So if you fell into that and you thought that was going to last forever, ever, forever, ever, ever. You're a fully fool. And, you know, fools, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes. We should not be bailing out people who, I'm hearing stories of people getting freaking $15,000 a month on food stamps, cash aid, and all this other crap. Dude, oh my God, I don't even make that much when I work full-time as an iron worker, one of the 3 most deadliest jobs on the planet. And I don't make as much as they get free? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. There's too much fraud out there. All that shit needs to cut. All those people need to get jobs. They need to be slapped to reality, because there is no reason in hell I should be enslaved for them to have their freedom. Because their freedom obviously isn't freedom. It's a free ride. Trump made whatever deal is best for America with China, Maria. That's just all there is to it. He's looking out for America first. Yeah, about 40 million. But see, what I just mentioned to you, there's about 5 of the 20 million illegal aliens. They're the ones that are getting $15,000 a month. So if you do 15,000 times 5 million times 12, that's how much is getting sucked out of the system, going to people that are not American citizens and did not pay into that system to take advantage of that system. They're just straight up taking advantage of it. And they're getting more than the people who paid into the system. That system is to be used. Hey guys, quiet down. That system was set up to be used by Americans in bad times, not to be given freely to people who walk over the border and plop out a baby. That was not the intent of the socialism system of Social Security, food stamps, Medicaid. All those are social governmental systems. Sorry, 2 cats are fighting. And that's part of America that's not constitutional, not free, not under the democracy of the republic, because they're socialist systems. Social in the name, Social Security. So we already were born into and raised in a social democracy republic. But we don't really truly know what a free America is, because we don't want to give up those social safety nets. Because when you give up those social safety nets, look at 1929, how many people became homeless because there was no social safety net. They were put in to prevent that from happening. I agree with that. So that means I have a mindset less of a fucking capitalist and more of a social capitalist, because I don't think people should. Now, having said that, those are legitimate claims. Now, if you get people on there saying, oh, hell, I just don't want to work and there's a loophole, I'm going to take it. Well, you know, that's where you got to audit the system every now and then, kick those people out on the streets. And if they go homeless, it's due to their own reasons of defrauding, delegitimately getting services, contributing nothing, as Attila says, contributing nothing. Those people need to pay the price, because it's theft. It's outright theft. You want to complain about your grandparents not having enough money? Well, shit, everything we're talking about now is the reason why they don't have enough money. So if you want to have a bleeding heart for someone to get $15,000 a month for being here undocumented, illegal, you know, it is what it is. Tell grandma suffer. You don't think she's worth it, that these other people are, and you're not going to stand up and stop it. You know, look at it from that perspective. See if you still see it as fairly for someone who didn't contribute to get something and take away from your elderly. Screw the kids. Kids can go out and mow lawns. Shit, I had my first job at 13. Don't talk to me about work. That's why I'm an iron worker now. That's all I've known my whole fucking life is work. Getting laid off, work. Getting laid off, go to work. Getting laid off, go to work. This system that we're living in right now, these times, the 2025, 2024, that was my whole adult life as an iron worker. So it's nothing new to me. It's the people that have these jobs that they're guaranteed, apparently, or believe they're guaranteed for 40 hours a week for 30 years. That blows my mind, because that's not how the system works, but people seem to think it does, and they get comfortable in their jobs, especially the federal government jobs. And when times like these come around and they lose their federal government job, the whole world collapses. No, it doesn't. It was a manufactured job that you planned on continuing to have and raise a family on, and not keep that family close to you, to where if you were to lose that job, you could still maintain your style of life. No, you got greedy. You got the big TV. You got the second house. You got a guaranteed job. You're working for the feds. You don't care. That's the mentality of most of them. Now they care because it's no longer guaranteed money. That's why they're called unessential. When you're a federal employee, you have an opportunity to change from unessential services to essential services, but it actually requires you actually doing something. Most people choose not to do that. Why? Free money. Okay, they get cut. Sorry, choices and decisions. No reason for anyone else to pay for your personal choices and decisions. That is true freedom. Now, if you want a slavery system, then all of us should pay for other people's bad choices. And we should encourage bad choices and all of us pay for them, except for the people doing the bad choices. Well, that's just freaking stupid, in my opinion. But anyhow, I wanted to keep this one short and just throw some stuff out there to make people think. I would appreciate it if everyone would like, share, and subscribe. Honey, if that was true, I wouldn't have had a gun pulled on me 6 years ago by an illegal MS-13 member. Holy shit, what? No, he wasn't working at a restaurant. He wasn't cleaning hotels. He wasn't doing labor. He was a fucking drug dealer. So, if you want to do labor, that's cool. Get a green card. We have legal ways to do it. We encourage it. There are actually people who actually do it yearly. Migrant workers. It's a thing. It's a whole industry. There's a smooth layered pathway to get a green card for migrant workers. Migrant workers being farm workers that travel from state to state during the time period of harvest. That legislation has been passed 30 years ago. Clean slate. You can come in America, get a green card, do that. Unless you don't want to follow the law. Then you just come in here and work. You see? Now, if you don't want to follow the law, why do I have to follow the law? Where's that story end? If one group doesn't have to follow the law, well, why does another group have to follow the law? Now, none of us are following the law. How many people do you think are going to be alive? Because there's going to be a lot of people that don't like other people that feel like if they're not going to follow the law, they'll just take those people out. See, you have mass breakdown of law and order when you don't apply the law equally and fairly to everyone. So unfortunately, to all these illegal immigrants, the voice you're hearing right now is the voice of a baby child who was born to a mother that was not an American citizen and lived for 83 years and died not an American citizen. That would make me an immigrant. So you can't argue with me about immigration. I am an immigrant.
Quiet.
First generation immigrant. I know what it's all about. That's why I went to work at age 13. I know what it's all about. So you can't say, oh, they're here to work at restaurants. No, they're not. Maybe 1 in 10 are. The other, oh, hold on. What about the 600,000 missing immigrant children? Are they all in restaurants? Out here in California, we found 5 of them at a drug processing center for Gavin Newsom's company, illegally working underage at a drug facility. But there's still 599,995 more missing children. I guess all working somewhere, so it should be easy to find them. Yeah, right. They're not here to work in restaurants. That's the last thing. That's the bullshit. As they cover up 600,000 missing kids. They're not missing. Their parents are all working at restaurants and out in the fields. No, they're not. If they were, they would have got the green card and flew into the system and not had any problems with immigration, no problems with ICE, none of that stuff. Because they followed the rules that have been in play for generations. At least 2 generations, they've had a migrant worker program. We've had a series of treaties with Mexico facilitating their people to come in here. It's not only here. If you go to Shanghai also has a migrant workforce. About 400,000 people come annually. They've got a system. Hey, do you know in Dubai, they've got a migrant workforce. They've got a system set up. So why do they have to use all these systems around the world that are set up, but here in America, they don't? Yeah, that's what you do when you want to commit suicide. You don't follow the rules. So apparently someone in charge wanted us to commit suicide. And they did a decent job of it. Now we're hemorrhaging money from the seat of our pants, giving each one of these illegals who are working hard, they're cleaning hotels and doing hard labor, and also getting $15,000 a month of taxpayer money, housing subsidies, food stamps, and everything else, being illegal, draining the system for those people that paid into it. So I don't care about what they came with, what their dreams were, what their ambitions were. If they didn't follow a setup system that's been set up around the world, every country has one, including the United States. If they don't want to follow those laws, they need to get the hell out, and they need to self-deport. Otherwise, they're criminals. I don't care if it's a 70-year-old grandmother that's been delivering groceries at the Safeway. If she's undocumented and she freely, as an adult, shows every day of her waking life not to follow immigration law, I don't know what to tell you. That sounds like a career criminal, every day waking up choosing not to follow the law. Oh, it's a small law. Yeah. So it's hitting some stranger in the face as you're walking down the street. Small law. But we have it. You can't do that. That's why a lot of people don't get hit in the face as they're walking down the streets. Small laws, they matter. What's up, Andrew? And that's what I got to say about that. You want to kill your society? Start making certain people not required to follow laws and make everyone else have to follow them. And then go to foreign countries and see if you can do the same thing in their country that you're allowing in your country. And then ask yourself, well, hey, if they can come through our country without doing a health screening, paying taxes, tariffs, fees, having a passport, go to Mexico and do that. Just cross the border, see if you can, see what happens. See if you don't have that nice view of those bars, because you'll be thrown in jail. They don't give a fuck. So why can they do it here and we can't do it there? If it's not a two-way street, it's not fair. It's not equitable. It's not DEI. You know? You got that straight, brother. No one's talking about that. Another thing they're not talking about, Google what the Mexican southern border looks like. Look at the wall. They've had a wall up there with guards and army men. And then ask yourself the question, how the hell did 10, 15 million people walk through there without being stopped? Yeah, cartels are in Mexico. So if you ever hear me saying we need to take over Mexico, well, not only did they allow people through their southern border wall that stretches from coast to coast, then there's a big wall, chain link fence, barbed wire, armed guards, and you got to go through a checkpoint in southern Mexico to get into Mexico. You have to walk about 2,000 miles. If you're walking at 3 miles an hour, you're getting, say you're aggressive walker and you don't have grandma and kids with you. You're putting in 40 miles a day. So in 10 days, you get 4. So you're walking for, I don't know, it's close to 2 months. Where are you getting your food and water? For, 10 million people, feeding them for 2 months. So now they're getting across Mexico's border wall, armed, guarded border wall. They're walking for 60 days, somehow getting fed and watered. And then now we're responsible for them. What I just described to you is how you invade a country with a military to a country that's allowing your military into your country. See, Germany tried that, and France didn't like it, so they went to war called World War II. Just putting it into perspective. So, yeah, we need to control our borders. I don't care about feelings. My feeling is I want Nancy, I want Fred, I want John, those little 2-day-old babies in their cribs at their mama's house and their daddy's house. I don't want them to experience crime. They're too young to experience crime for someone else's feelings. So let's all follow the law and keep those little American babies safe. I don't care about Mexican babies. I don't care about Canadian babies. They're Mexicans. They have Mexican law. They're Canadians. They have Canadian law. We're Americans. We have American law. Wow, what a freaking concept. You mean there's laws for other countries? Yeah. And other people follow those laws. They come to America and, well, we follow American laws, but they don't have to. Wow, what a stupid society we are. Oh yeah, no, Trump screwed Mexico because now Mexico has to cover their asses for all the expense of that food and water and transportation. Kind of sucks when you get caught up with a $20 million bill a monthly, if not more. Kind of drains your drug resources if, like, you're the president of Mexico and maybe, possibly, she's affiliated, which the news stations have suggested, with the cartels. So she would actually be making money for Mexico by allowing 10 million people to go through her country into America. Someone paid her. That's why you always follow the money. Someone paid to feed those people for 60 days. Someone paid for all the water, at least 1 gallon a day. That's 6 million people, 6 million gallons of water times 60 days. That's a lot of freaking water. How much does water cost? Whew, damn, that's a lot of money. But somehow we don't care. We just want them to be free. Or no, we want to give them free shit. That's what we want to do. Not shit that grandma will take or could use. You know, we'll let grandma die. Let's give free shit to people who don't deserve it. To just invade our country. I think America is a country of laws. Follow them. It's really. That's the simplest concept. If you cannot conceive that we are a country of laws, that we actually fought 250 years ago for the freedom to have our own laws, and lots of people died so that we could form a nation of laws for the people, by the people. Yeah, sure, it's not for the people, by the people. That's why we got 20 million people walking across our border right now, because the laws aren't for us. So I agree with every liberal out there. Yeah, it's not for the people, by the people. It's for whoever allowed 20 million people into our country freely and given them $15,000 a month of our hard-earned money freely, because we deserve to be their financial slaves. That's what America was made for. I mean, what are you supposed to get out of it? How can you tell me anything other than that being a fact? Yes, babies will die. You know what? Shit, girl, go to Iran, see what they do to Hindus, Buddhists, or Christians. Oh, you want to see some nasty shit? Oh, go over there. Why are we morally responsible for people who illegally are fed to us for profit to destroy us? Why are we morally obligated to die for them? Because financially, that's what's going to happen in this country. When we lose this country, you know what? Ding dong mo yin dai. You better know Mandarin, because you're going to be a slave like the Chinese are, because power hates a vacuum. If America goes away, what options are there to fill the gap? Russia, China. Oh, that's all. Okay, communism. If you want communism, there's this thing called the world, and there's this place called Russia and China. You can move there and experience the joy of communism. Don't bring it to America. And if we follow laws, by God, we won't get communism. It's a real simple concept. It doesn't get more simpler than that. Follow the laws. If you don't like the laws, check this out. You can go grab a gun, start shooting people, and say, change the law, I don't like it. Or you can run for office and get to a position with you and a whole bunch of friends that feel like you do about the law, and put in the time, energy, and effort to change it. Just don't go out there and hit people and throw rocks and say, change the law. I want these people to live for free at my expense. And I want you to pay for it too. I don't care what you think. I don't care about your baby. I don't care about your work. You know, take that and make it a political party. Do the right thing. Don't throw rocks at us. Don't burn our flag. Don't tell us we have to pay for people who are thrown out of other countries' jails to come in here and rape our daughters. Don't tell us we have to pay for them and they have the right to stay here because they're working in hotels. Damn, that's just crazy. So the moral thing is like this. You can stop drawing your line at whatever moral position you feel you have the high ground in, but flip the side of that coin that you have your moral high ground on and ask, who's paying the price for that moral high ground? And if the answer you don't like, then get the fuck off that moral high ground and get to a real answer. And you'll come to the conclusion that if we go back to following the rule of law and we have good judges and decent politicians, which we should be ourselves running for office if we want decent people. If we don't have decent people in there and we think we're decent people, we should be the decent people running for office. It's called grassroots effort. It actually works if you put the time, energy, and effort and work into it. Maybe you can get a couple migrants to help you if they are, and they're cleaning hotel rooms. Maybe they can work for you and get you done. You know, you got to fucking care. And not for others, but for everyone in America. There's 320 million of us. Why don't we care as much as the 20 million that are getting all of our funds and bankrupting our country and going to cause my granddaughter to die of hunger, which she should not. I've put in 35 years of good work to pay for everyone to steal from me. I deserve to be stolen from. I hear you. My children don't deserve it. I put in the work. Someone can just walk across the border and take what I built, what I paid for, not just me, but, 180 other million Americans paid for. We should suffer because we're stupid and we paid for it. Maybe we should have just gone to war and taken their countries over. Hold on. There's the flip side to that one. See, you got to flip the side of the coin of whatever moral high ground you have and see, oh, well, if 100% of the people don't agree with my personal feelings, we're going to have issues. Because you got to live with 320 million people who probably don't think like you, but they can't agree to a consensus of rule of law. If you break that consensus of rule of law, well, the narrative I just put out is what you're going to get. Because if I don't have to follow the law, shit, I'm going to be rich. Because if I can just take it, I'm still young enough to take from the old people, No, that'd be your old people, but not mine. So don't worry about it. Well, you'd have to worry about it, but I wouldn't. Is that the society you want? No, we're not losing our country, Andrew. It's called exposing. It's the oldest trick in the book. You allow self-exposure. And if you notice, and I've seen it, people I guess haven't picked up on it. They target people at these riots. And the reason why they target them, even though, targeting people is illegal. You know why it's illegal? Because you can put in agitators into peaceful protest and turn them into violent rioters if you can't profile. But if you do profile, you can selectively figure out in that group who's the agitators or the paid agitators are and get them out before it goes to a riot. Now it's just a peaceful protest. And over the past, 4.5, 5 years, longer actually, there's been one side that has employed that strategy. If you look at, and I found this out because I did my own research on the January 6th quote unquote riots, they've already identified 26 individuals that were the antagonizers and caused those people to riot by means of shouting, yelling through megaphones, hurting the crowd. You have to know about crowd mentality, mob mentality. And these 26 people were at 26 or 27 were identified through 18,000 hours of video from so many different cameras and angles of 8 hours of life. They got 18,000 hours of video. They went through all of that and they found these people. A lot of them work for the government. A lot of them work for the FBI. A lot of them work for the FBI that no longer is in charge of the FBI. Agitators. See, so your whole perspective can be changed by a couple agitators that are paid. So you got to watch out for that crap. What's up, Cha-Cha? 888 Cha-Cha? You got to watch out for that when you see things and not just accept things at face value, because people expect you to accept things at face value. You see a riot. Oh my God, the cops are being mean. Okay, well, what caused that riot? You don't care. You just saw the cops being mean and you're going to come up with your conclusion. That's foolishness. You need to find out more before you come up with a feeling conclusion and come up with a critical thinking conclusion. Always look at the other side of the coin before you go opening your mouth in public saying, oh, this is bad, because you're going to look like a fool. Because now is the time of the reckoning of those who have played that game. And they're being called out on TV. Oh, we never called Trump a Hitler. And then you get 20 minutes of tape of all the fucking newscasters and all the Democrats calling him a Hitler. It's like, and now they're lying about it. You're seeing it play out in front of you, just don't realize it. There's been a game being played. They've been allowed to play their hand. It's like a card game, two sides. They've been allowed to play their hand. They played their hand. It's on the table. Everyone can see it. Now they're changing their verbs and their words and their meanings out of their mouth. But the cards are already on the table. It's now time for accountability. You got to pay. You lost your poker hand. Now you got to pay. There's nothing else. That's rule of law. Best way to expose someone is not spend $1 million on an investigation. Let them expose themselves. Let them do the crime. Let them get through with it. Let them finish it up, and then just go pick them up based off of what they did. Because then you don't have to spend $1 million. They have to spend $1 million defending themselves against the evidence of what they did, and that is what has been going on. And the piper is coming. Has been. A lot of people have been arrested. A lot of judges have been fired. A lot of judges have been thrown in jail. A lot of politicians have been lower echelon. A lot of politicians I did a couple of reports on in Pennsylvania got thrown in jail for voter fraud. A lot of things have happened, and it's been said to our faces. It's just no one wants to, I don't know, perceive it as true or reality. Or you didn't see it on the national news, and you didn't go looking for it because, you got life to deal with and blah, 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 blah. So you didn't go look into these individual states and their news stations, so you didn't find it out, and it never made the national news, so you don't know about it, so you go on with your narrative that you have. Hello? Running a country means you trust the individuals in charge, or you do your own damn research because you don't trust them. So most people trust one side or the other. I haven't voted for either side in 3 elections. I voted for myself because I don't trust either of them. I actually do my own research. I actually waste my personal time going and Googling and Wikipedia and Congressional Library. I waste my time to find out my own stuff, and then I get called an idiot. Cool. Do your own research. Critical thinking is where you want to be rich. I just explained how. Don't believe either side. Listen to them. Do your own research. And then, hey, go back and watch my videos from October 2024 when I first mentioned OKLO and NNE. Yeah, see what they're doing now. People say the stockbrokers wait years for one career to get a good call that goes 1,000%. Shit. I got that. Okay, so I guess I'm better than them. In just 13 months. They've gone. One of them's gone up like 1,300%. And William, one of my other subscribers, I told him about a division of Rolls-Royce 3 years ago. It's up 1,600%. I've got so many good calls. I mean, I see things, bro. I'm talking about what I see and the way I see things, and the way I analyze things, and the way I research things, and then I give stock picks. I give all these other information, good information that I've learned, and I put it out there in public. It's recorded. So you can go back and you can watch Cramer. Oh, Cramer's up on his call 600%. Cool. How long is it taking? 13 years? Cool. I'm up 1,300% in 1. Cool. Believe who you want to believe. It's hard to not believe the people that are in your face every day on TV, but you got to take yourself out of that. Don't trust them. Do your own research, and you'll find out you could very easily make money too. I've been explaining how. The calls I made that are better than Cramer's, better than Nancy Pelosi's, I got from public information that was given to us all. And I came up with a logical, critical thinking deduction. And then I made a call. Check out these stocks. They're going to fly. Boom, they did. I've done it several times. I got a couple still yet to fly. I've explained why they're going to fly. Right now, they're micro penny stocks, MJNA, and record this, MJNA and SFRX. Within 12 months, they're going to be boomers, baby. You'll be like, man, I wish I had $50 in them. I wish I could have, should have, would have. Someone told me. Yeah, been doing that too. I don't give stock advice. I don't give financial advice. I don't know anything about that. What I do is I give good advice off of what the government has said out of their mouth that I actually listen to. And I look around and see what's going on. And I'm like, holy shit, they're telling us how to win. You don't have to be a stockbroker. That shit complicates stuff. It makes it more difficult. You have to learn new rules and regulations to be able to do something that's so simple. Listen to what the government says. What are they doing? Oh, is there $22 trillion worth of investment? I did a show, had a guy on here, I think last week, 2 weeks ago, where I showed the breakdown of where $8.8 trillion was going. Saudi Arabia, $1.5 trillion. Investment, manufacturing, and here's the key one, aerospace. $1.5 trillion invested in America just for those two industries. Manufacturing, what are they manufacturing? I didn't get that much into it. But the information's out there. You can find out whether they're going to be manufactured, what are they building, what are they throwing $1.5 trillion at to manufacture, to make here in America. It's going to be in manufacturing and aerospace. That's just 1.5. That's just 10% of what's coming by the end of this year. If you get into whatever those companies are, you're going to gain great, massive returns on investment. There's a lot of money coming in. Find out where it's going. Invest in it before it gets here, and you'll be I don't know if you'll be a millionaire, but you'll be rich. Richer than you'll be rich compared to the money you invested in it. So if you only invest $50 and you come out with 500, that's pretty rich for the investment you made in a year. That's all I've been doing. I saw our government shift from the 20 25 years to get a nuclear regulatory approval for a nuclear site to 6 months. Well, damn, man, if we were playing poker and you had all aces and your eyeballs went up like that and your jaw dropped and gave that big of a tell, I'd jump on it. And the government gave that big of a tell. When you change our whole lifetimes since Long Island's, whatever happened there, the nuclear shit, it takes 20 to 25 years of regulatory compliance before you can start building a nuclear facility. And then within 6 months, it goes, oh no, we'll walk you through the process. It'll take less than 6 months, not 20, 25 years. When your government says that, pay attention. They're opening a doorway for trillions of dollars to be funneled into your country. Trump, as in the earlier part of the video, said there's about 20 to 22 trillion dollars going to be funneling in. Find out where it's going before it gets there and invest in it. Do your own research. There's a lot of good companies out there. I'm not hitting all of them. I'm explaining to you how I got the ones I did get. And you can see visually by just checking how good OKLO has done and how good NNE has done. Matter of fact, I'll even make it simpler than that. I'll show you. Let's see here. Go with this one here. Max. All right, let's get back here. Share screen. Go back and look at my videos. Right around October, September, right around here. No, it was past then because it was a little more expensive. Had to be towards the end of October. There we go. Around that time right there is when I started talking about that stock. Can you guys see that? Around $18. 1 year ago. It's gone from $18 up to right now, it's $130, $140. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's what the government told me to invest in when I read what the government said. Look at it. Apparently the government was right. Well, if the government told me that, why didn't they tell you? They did tell you. You were too busy with feelings or life or job or something else. But it's your responsibility to know what the government's doing. If you know what your government's doing, your life will be a lot easier. What's up, C4? What's up, Pete? Just look at what the government's saying, where the government's investing. Again, the beginning is an hour ago, I brought you this video of Trump stating publicly to the world, everyone, that includes you guys, $22 trillion is going to be invested in this country. He said by the end of this year. That doesn't leave a lot of time to invest or to do your critical thinking research on where this $22 trillion is going. And I'm even going to make that one easy. Hold on. I'm going to help everybody out here. And I'm going to do a quick search here. The more specific question you ask, the more detailed the response you get. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going to read it out. Manufacturing with 42.3% of the FDA position 2024. Manufacturing receives the largest share of foreign investment. Chemical sectors account for significant. I'll share screen just so you guys can read it for yourselves. Okay, right here. Sectors. Foreign direct investment in the U.S. is concentrated in the following sectors and countries. Manufacturing. Blah, 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 blah. The chemical sector accounts for a significant portion of this investment. Okay, look to your chemical contractors, your chemical companies. Financing and insurance sector also attracted a lot. Wholesale trades. Okay, so you got your import-export businesses. They're going to be coming up. Professional, scientific, and technical services received a notable amount of greenfield new investments. These are the countries investing in us: Japan, Canada, Germany, United Kingdom, Ireland. The states that are going to receive the most money: Texas, Florida, California. Misleading investment figures. 20 trillion figures is likely based on misleading reports from investment pledges. Here's the key facts regarding these claims. May 2025 reports calculated Saudi Arabia to invest $20 billion in U.S. data centers and energy infrastructure. Let's see. What countries are invested in America? Oh, here we go. Japan, investment, $1 trillion. Sector, manufacturing and industry. Apple, $600 billion. Technology and AI. Saudi Arabia, $600 billion. Manufacturing and industry. The EU firms, various sectors. So if you research this shit, there's going to be $20 trillion flooding into manufacturing, industry, technology, AI, manufacturing, industry, and other sectors. Find out these sectors, find out the good ones, and invest in them. Because when that money pours in, what happens is you have this thing called market cap. More money goes in, the more the market cap is. If you invest in something when there's a small market cap, and then $1 trillion flows into it, that market cap, say that market cap was $100 billion. Well, that means you're going to 10x your money overnight, at least. And then you got FOMO and all this other psychological crap going on. You could very easily 20x your money if you're in the right industry, if you do your own critical thinking and research on where all this money is going to be invested. Or you can say, well, I don't believe it. I don't like Orange Man bad. He's killing us all. He's going to destroy our country. And miss this opportunity. But know this, you missed the opportunity. Don't let your feelings fuck up your finances. Don't care if you like a man or don't like a man, or love a cow or don't love a cow, or if the dog jumped over the moon. And who gives a shit? It's about making money. You want to know why it's about making money? Because everyone's got a house payment and everyone's got to feed their kids. So the more money you have, the more you can take care of that. And then you can focus on the stupid shit, which is actually very important, which is governance. And maybe you can get involved in the governing of your own town, your own municipality, and make changes on a local level that the feds will pick up on as good ideas, which is the way the federal government actually works, so that at a city, state, or county level, you can actually make federal change if you can prove that your change or the things that you are doing in your local area are working. The federal government will take and implement them into national policy. How do you do that? I don't know. Run for local office and make it better. Find ways to innovate, create, and make things better for the taxpayers of that area that you're running for office in. And if you are successful, other people will copy you. And when other people copy you, you now become a political figure that's known about on TV, and you can make more changes. Now you're going to have lots of lobbyists coming at you, paying you money, saying, hey, we donated $10 million to your campaign. We want some return on investments. You have a choice at that point in time to follow the law and have them turned in for trying to corrupt a politician, or you can take their money and you can be just like all the other politicians, leaving us to complain. Because so far, there ain't a good politician out there that's done it. So if you ain't going to do it, accept what you get. That's all I got to say about that one. And I've been saying that a long time. Run for local office. And you can make more change than you'd imagine. Because running for local office means you care. And people that care usually make a difference. But if you don't care, that also says a lot. A lot of people don't have time. I understand. I don't either. But I do have the time to make money, which means I'll have time to invest after I get that money in the politicians that I feel will most benefit my local constituency. And at that point in time, I have power. So it all starts with making money. Your government just told you how you can make money. There's $22 trillion worth of investment coming into this country. Find out where it drops, because where it drops, that market cap will 10x it. Where that 10x is, if your money's in it, you're going to make 10x your money. That's how it works. That's why I like MJNA. It's a medical marijuana stock. It's done nothing for 20 years. Penny stock. But there's trillions of dollars fixing to flow into the medical marijuana field and the industrial hemp industry as soon as the DEA and Justice Department finalize their paperwork and decriminalize from a class 1 to a class 3 marijuana. Once that happens, trillions of dollars are going to flood into that market, and those little penny stocks are going to be worth dollars. Because as I've always said, it's easier to take 1 penny and make it 2 pennies than it is to make $100, $200. And if the stock was already at $8 and it's now a third of a penny, it'll probably go back up to $8. And if you get 100,000 of them at a third of a penny, and then it goes up to $8, you can afford to finance some political careers at that point in time. Now you got a better America, because more good people have money, and all countries run off money. All countries fail when the money goes bad. But as long as you got good people behind that country, the country will always be around. Let's make sure there's a lot of good people with money. That's my goal. That's why I tell you people about these things I see our government telling us to invest in. That's why I'm talking to you right now about the $22 trillion that President Trump out of his own mouth said was coming in investment. Where's that money going? Invest before it gets there. That's how the rich make more money. It's insider trader information, but it's not insider trader information. He said it on national TV. Most people are too foolish and butthurt and bring their feelings to their finances, and they fuck up. You can probably make money in New York if that communist guy wins. You know what he's going to do. Invest appropriately, and you can make a lot of money. This sucks, but economics is separate from, unless you're trying to overthrow a country, it's separate. Actually, there was I think it was the 13th century, might have been 7th century. I don't recall. A king from the Mali, Kush, West Africa area had so much damn money. He used to defeat neighboring countries by just visiting them, because he'd bring entourage of like 20,000 personal assistants, half an army, and he had so much gold and silver that when he left that town after his political event that he had, they had so much money they hyperinflated and went bankrupt because everyone had money and no one wanted to produce goods. And that's how he took over countries. If you do research in history, you'll find out how economics can crush a country, and then you'll have a different aspect on this migrant situation. Why we definitely need to control it. And even a simpler economic theory is this: you have a town of 500 people making shit, selling it, money coming in. If they take that money coming in and they send it out, then there's no money coming in. They're sending out product and no money's coming in. How long do you think they're going to be alive? Not long. If you take a element, put them to work, and they send half that money to a foreign country, that's actually economic warfare, and it'll crush your economy. If you have 20 million of them doing it, and there's only 180 million Americans working, you got 10% of the population working to crush your economy. You're going to have a shitty economy. No one thinks of that. But that has to come in play with these migrant workers too, or illegal, or legally broke the law and don't have any legal documentation to continue being in this country legally, not illegally. I don't even know how you can. They're illegals. It's illegal. If I walk into a bank and pull a gun, it's illegal. If you walk across the country and take my money and send it out of the country and bankrupt me, well, that's illegal too. anyhow, that's enough of me ranting. I gave what information I wanted to give you guys today. I hope you have a great week and enjoy the rest of your day. God bless America and everybody here. And for you from Australia, God bless Australia as well, and England.